Good morning. I hope you're good, thinking good, doing good, and everything is good around you. This morning, I'd like to guide you through a very practical and I would say on the go breathing. We can call it breathing meditation. I would say in this case, it's a breathing scan. It's a little tool that you can put in your pocket, carry with you wherever you go, whatever you do, sitting at work, walking, anything, basically anything also that comes to your life, to your moments at any time where maybe there is an overflow of thoughts, or maybe you can't move from where you are, but you would like to take a pause, but you can't go anywhere. You know, those moments where we're a little bit in a limbo. And mindfully, we can just bring back our attention to breath. Now, there are different types of breath. I mean, there is breathing as a function that is an involuntary function of our system. And then there are different types of breathings that can either accelerate the beat or relax the beat. And those who are actually healthy, because they are we control there are those that are healthy without being controlled. There are those who are not healthy, which are out of our control as well to a certain extent. And then there are those that we can make healthy, so those that we can intervene, we can interfere with, we can control. And that is where the ancient yogi science calls it pranayama. As in, prana is life force, and the yama is controlling in a very large sense, right? Means like taking charge or taming. You can put it like that. It's not a literal translation. I'm translating the meaning. And prana is one of the main life forces. It's an energy. There essentially are 5 pranas in the terms of how energy circulates in our body. And the first one is prana, is a descending energy. It's an energy that comes from the outside and that we breathe in. And when we breathe it in, it descends in the body. Then there are 4 others. There's prana, there is apana, there is samana, there is vijaya, and there is another one I forgot right now. That's not the purpose. So pranayama is a practice that makes us taming and taking over control of our breath, and as such modify bio exchanges in the body. So we basically apply an effective mindful tool to our breathing. That was a bit of a short, extremely short introduction. Now what I would like you to do, you probably heard of, there are many forms. So the one I'm going to describe now is a very short, on-the-go tool. It's not exhaustive of all the pranayama practices. If you are standing, you're listening to this standing, you can also do it standing. If you're listening to this sitting, you can also do it sitting. If you're laying down, you can lay it down. Just be conscious that this is a breathing that is going to accelerate, it's going to energize you. It's not necessarily a relaxation breathing. We don't really only need relaxation in life. We also need moments of energizing, and this can be also anatomically, it is called, it's a controlled hyperventilation. Hyperventilation means when your breathing is very fast, happens between the diaphragm and the breath only, and it feels, it's what you're doing when you're running. Yeah, it actually accelerates the exchanges. Then there is and it's called ventilation because obviously you're taking a lot of air in and a lot of air out. And then there is also hypoventilation, hypo as in lower and slower, where it is usually is the breathing when we are relaxed, when we are under certain circumstances, right? So either sleeping or when we're in a very, very relaxed state, meditating and places like this. So now this is a breathing, it's a hyperventilation exercise on the go, which means you can do it anywhere, and it's a diaphragmatic breath. So I would like you to take either hand, the right or the left, place it on your diaphragm. The diaphragm stands just behind the last rib. So it's at the section where you don't feel the ribs anymore and it starts to be soft. That's your stomach. So you place your hands there. It's actually not the stomach, it's the diaphragm. But that's what we call the stomach because the stomach stands just above the diaphragm, and when we inhale and exhale, we inflate and deflate the size of the diaphragm, and we make the stomach move up or move down. That's why sometimes we feel constricted. When we've eaten too much, we feel constricted, for instance, or that's why when there is something wrong also in the stomach, we have difficulty breathing. So the diaphragm is the first breathing muscle. So when we breathe, it's called the primary breathing muscles. Then there are the secondary breathing muscles, which are on the side of the rib cage. These are the muscles that make your rib cage open and close. And then there are the tertiary breathing muscles that are actually the pectorals, just in front, under the ball of the shoulder, just in front, by the side of the collarbones, and in that hollow little space just on the side of the collarbone. So now we focus only on the primary breathing muscle, that is the diaphragm. So I would like you to take your hand and place it on your diaphragm, straighten the back, and you look ahead of you. So you're not looking on the floor, you're not looking at the sky or the ceiling, you're not doing anything else, talking to someone. You just feel your breath basically happening in your hand. When you inhale, you feel your diaphragm pushing against your hand. And when you exhale, you feel your diaphragm going in, and you can feel your ribs again, or depending on your abdomen, on the shape of your abdomen, you just feel your hands become flat. Release the lower belly. Release all the muscles that are under. We don't need them. Just focus on your diaphragm. And you will feel at some point very subtle you will feel like when the diaphragm inflates, when it expands through the inhalation, it feels that there is a ring inside the abdomen that like encircles the whole abdomen at that level, in the front, in the side, and in the back. And if you're doing it, the more consciously you're doing that, you'll feel it will straighten your back, especially the upper back. It will realign the neck with the spine, the cervical with the spine. It will, and you can realign your back of the head with the spine, so you're actually very straight, and it counterposes the curving down position that we tend to have, for instance, on a computer or on a mobile. Keep going, don't change, keep going and keeping your hand there. And now bring your attention to your breathing as it happens. So now that you're completely focused on the diaphragm and nowhere else, not the chest and not the belly, bring your attention to the cycle of the breath. So the inhalation starts, the inhalation completes, the exhalation starts, exhalation completes, and it never stops. Become aware of that. Don't make it stop. Don't make it stop. Don't allow it to stop. There always is a moment. It's also involuntary or voluntary. It depends if you're controlling it. Now I'm asking you to voluntarily have no interruption between the end of the inhalation and the beginning of the exhalation. And the same thing goes for the end of the exhalation and the beginning of the inhalation. So you can feel it inhaling, exhaling. As soon as the exhalation finishes, you start inhaling. You start controlling your breath. And then the same thing goes for the end of exhalation, and immediately inhale. Now you're actually working only on this upper part, on your rib cage at the moment. Your whole attention is on your breath. Your whole attention is on your rib cage. Your whole attention is on your breathing. Now the remaining part of the exercise, you could stop here. That would be step 1, which is already very beneficial, which I will explain after I complete my second stage. And stage 2 is that you can start by interrupting the exhalation just before it completes and start inhaling again. It's similar to going hiking and sustaining a breath because you are or going up the stairs and sustain, and you actually go beyond your what is called first breath. You you're entering the second breath, and then after the second breath, you're entering the third breath, and it keeps going like this, and you're going up the stairs, or you are hiking at a sustained pace, and you're not wanting to stop. So that requires you to take in more oxygen, So you breathe in and you do not allow the exhalation to complete fully. You just start breathing again, inhaling again. So that would be a second step. And if you find that this would take you too long, that's not the time available that you would have, you can stop there. Otherwise, you can do it again until it feels okay. There is no prescribed timing. Obviously, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It really depends on your intention, on your capacity, on your capacity to breathe this way, on your ability to concentrate for a specific length of time on just one thing, and obviously the time you have available for this. If you are in a crowded metro and you have a moment of anxiety and you can do this, then you might not have all the 20 minutes. You might just have 3, but it's already a very, very, very good exercise. All right, so step 1, hand on the diaphragm and consciously becoming aware of the breath, the inhalation, first the breath and the pressing of the diaphragm on the hand, and then the release. Then after that is the breath, become conscious of the inhalation and the exhalation as it happens. Then becoming conscious of the cycle of the breathing and the end of the inhalation and beginning of the exhalation, and not allowing a pause, and the same for not allowing a pause between exhalation and inhalation again. And that would be the step 1. Step 2 would be, if you have time and if you're willing to do, and you have become a little bit more practical with that step 1, you can start interrupting exhalation a few moments before it's about to stop, and inhaling again. And then the same goes when you finish exhaling, start inhaling again. When you finish exhalation, let the exhalation go. When you finish inhalation, let the exhalation go, and sustain it a little bit more. So you're controlling the cycle of the breath. So this is something you can put in your pocket, you can put in your bag, you can put anywhere in your practice, and you can use it at any time that you feel there's a clouding in your mind, or you need a bit of energize. It might have the effect of a little bit of a coffee or a coffee shot, and without having all the inconvenience of drinking too much coffee. It's very good to do in the morning when you wake up. Excellent to actually energize the brain under the shower, before you get out of bed, anytime that is convenient to you. Anytime also that you are involved and you feel like there's really a moment of pausing, but without anxiety, you can do that. And then remember that because of the position and the place of the rib cage in the body, and because we focus on this diaphragm that stands at the place where we usually tend anatomically to lean forward and curve forward, especially now in the digital age where they all constantly have a digital device in our hands. Hopefully you don't have it too often, or you're consciously aware that it is there too often. And if you look around, you will see people lean, and usually the line where it's leaning forward, what you're seeing is the back, but in the front, the line is actually happening at the diaphragm. It's closing the diaphragm. By closing the diaphragm and not keeping the diaphragm, I would say, in good standing order, we create involuntarily a lot of other inconvenience at the level of the stomach and the digestion. That's already just one. Number two, we're not breathing properly, so we there's kind of an atrophy of the diaphragm, which can create a proper hyperventilation, which means breathing only from the chest with the secondary muscles and the tertiary muscles, which eventually creates hypertension, because it increases the heartbeat and it makes you breathe only in the chest, and it's just not conducive to health, because it's not conducive to have high blood pressure. So this is one. Secondly, it will also, this is two. Third, it will also return and force you to come back to a better positioned, aligned standing posture, and as such, it will also relax your eyes and make you conscious that your breathing is quite essential. Quality breathing is quality of life. Thank you for being with me this morning, and I'll be there soon with other exercises. Thank you and have a good day.